And we're back, This time with Touch and Tag. I have no idea how I came up with this name. It's just the most random name ever. But we start off with this sound. It's just little bass sounds. It's the basic sound in this instrument. I started off with this. That is the loop, and I turned that into this outro, or intro even. And yeah, there's a little EQ on this, just cutting off some of the low ends. This is what it sounds like without it, and then with it. I found this quiet in Xenology, just kind of following the root notes of the progression. And I've got a basic hi-hat pattern here that has a roll at the start and a couple extra rolls to finish it out. The sound is muted. You can see the frequency is a bit weird in the sense of that it's panned slightly more to the right, but it was just some random one I found in the drum pack that I thought sounded nice with it. So the clap, it's a very, very loud clap. Obviously the second editor has one just before with the velocity slightly lower, so it fades in nicer since it goes instantly into the kick. I say kick, that isn't a kick, it's what's it? Just the 808, but another point. It drops into these chords. It was very weird to make. I started off with a F sharp major, 7. No, just a regular. And then I expanded these chords, rearranged them, so they're a lot wider, and you can see a pedal tone has been created because of it. And yeah, I figured out most of these by ear, creating this chord, then creating a second, and then just rearranging it so it's the voicing's all different. Same with here, and same with here. So it starts off slower, and then, or not slower, but smaller chord, and then it expands into this more bassy chord. And then the 808 is just a spins with a EQ cutting off the low and a compressor to just compress it so it doesn't sound as muddy. Same with the EQ. The sound of the chords, it has a slight cut on the high end, just so that it wasn't as with the lead that comes on later on, it doesn't clash with it as much for when it goes along. And the sound I chose to use is in the Mini V, just a little string sound. I detuned one of the oscillators slightly, added more glide onto it, and turned down the attack, or turned up the attack on this one, turned it down on the second filter, creating this sound. So with this lead here, it started off, if I glue these together so I can properly show you what it looks like. Following the notes. I liked the little gap in between, instead of it being F sharp and then moving down like that. So it would have sounded like this. I just thought it sounded worse than just keeping this. I also changed the velocities for how it would actually be played on a keyboard, with obviously these being your harder notes, and when you're going down you're pressing harder into the next root of the chord. Yeah, most of this stuff was figured out by ear, just getting the general idea of what I wanted the lead to sound like and just constantly changing it. With the structure change, I just got rid of the hi-hats, keeping the claps and everything else. We've got a second sound, a mid-sol lead as a counter melody. As you can see, we are literally just going down the scale with a little like ghost note here. It's not really a ghost note, but like a sliding note. And it just repeating across. And then this one, it going back up. Nothing on it, it's just stock. I should have shown it for the first lead. There's a tiny cut on the high end and a lot cut from the low end to make the lead here. And what it sounds like in the full mix. Obviously cutting these out so this sticks out a lot more with the bass. Everything with the hi-hats coming back in. Another structure change, except the lead on here's gone. The 808's gone, same with the hi-hats and the snare. I added the 808s back in just to create the tension. For eventually that you like again you think that it's gonna come back in, but it doesn't. And it just slowly dissipates. I took the hi-hats and the snare, I put them through a drum bus, taking off some of the low end and giving it a lot more high end instead of mid-air, which for a lot of my other tracks I used more mid-air for it. I thought it sounded better for just the snare and the hi-hats in general. But yeah, that's routed there, and obviously it's routed to the master. It's the wrong thing. If I go onto here, you can see that on the master channel, the highs are also being added a little bit with a high shelf, and the very, very low frequencies have been cut. And yeah, overall opinions, I'm not too happy with this lead sound. This one, the little. Sounds really programmy even with the EQs on. There definitely is a better sound that I could add, but it's too late now. And but I'm very happy with like how the 808 sounds without a kick. I thought the hi-hats and the snare sound really good. I think this is definitely like it was my first time making a track with the new instruments that I bought, the Altaria ones. So you know, it was just kind of with all the time that I spent on my own just messing around with it. The minute that I heard this, I was like, oh, I've got to make something of that, especially when I came up with this loop. I thought, oh, I can definitely make something with this. So I just freeballed everything, just kept going forward, even when I didn't fully like the lead sound. I just needed, you know, a lead. And if I had more time to, you know, get better, then I obviously would have. But for the time being, it's fine. I think it's a solid little track. And yeah, that's about it.